What's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to share with you how I grew my bankroll from $10,000 to about $112,000 in just 50 days. So it all started, I'm screen recording here on this phone in my hand. So I'm just gonna kind of read through it to start the video. And then the second half of the video, I'm gonna share a lot of mindset stuff and a lot of just strategies with my approach to sports betting, how I view sports betting, that you'll be able to implement in your game, and it will help you become a profitable sports bettor or more profitable sports bettor. But let's get into the proof first, because a lot of people make crazy claims on the internet. They have no proof to back it up. I'm gonna screen record my DraftKings account here so you can see, and then I also can show you my Pick'It, which Pick'It, if you don't know, is an app. You can sync all of your sports betting and DFS apps up to it, and then it will track all your wins and losses. So it's an easy way to automatically track how much money you're making or losing each month, and it's a pretty useful tool. That way you don't have to manually be typing all this stuff into a spreadsheet. Pick'It can just track it for you. So it started with LSU. I had $10,000 in my DraftKings account. This was back in June, and this was after they beat Arkansas, and I'm wearing an Arkansas hat right now. It's kind of funny, but you don't want to become a fan of teams. And if you are a fan of teams, I would just not bet for or against them, because you're going to be too biased. For me, when I decided to become a professional sports bettor, I stopped being a fan of teams and I just take an unbiased approach. So I'm wearing an Arkansas hat. I actually bet against them. I bet on LSU. It's funny, some people, when they see this hat, they talk to me about the LSU game, and a lot of times they have no idea that I made 22 grand off of that. Ultimately, I technically made like 100 grand because I turned the 22K into a lot more. So we'll scroll through. I did hedge right here. So ultimately, I didn't invest 10K into this bankroll. I invested 13.5, but this was a nice little hedge here where I could potentially win both if LSU had won by 1. They ended up winning 5-3, so I ended up cashing this $22,000 winner. I wish I had cashed both. That would have been sweet, but it was just smart to eliminate risk there. So for me, I usually don't hedge unless it's something massive, but I will try to go for the middles. That way I can eliminate risk and increase upside. So I ended up losing this 3,500 here, but I had potential to have made an extra couple grand on the bet if both had hit. So now I have $22,000 in the account, invested $13,000. We'll scroll through some of my UFC stuff. What's cool here is DraftKings views me as a square. So DraftKings is giving me all these sweet promos, like this one right here is a $50 parlay boost. So I took it from plus 2,000 to plus 3,000. So instead of 20 to 1, 30 to 1 on a $500 bet, that puts me in position where I can get, $15,000 if that were to win. And I think it actually missed by 1. I had Ilya round 2 and Ilya round 3. Ilya won that fight in round 1, which is fine. I ended up making, I think like 40 grand on that night, but I was close to making a lot more. You'll notice that as we scroll through these. So this is 5 grand to win 13, so $8,800 profit there. We lost a $2,500 one. This was Ilya round 2. That would have paid out pretty large there. I think that would have paid out around 15 grand. This was a big one, 4K to win 29 right here. I was really confident in all these picks. The linchpin was Beneil Dariush as a slight underdog over Renato Moicano. Moicano is a fan favorite, and a lot of people like him. He's super popular. I'm a huge fan of his, actually. So I do bet on athletes when I'm a fan, but in this case, betting against. Like I mentioned, though, staying unbiased is key. So I knew Beneil was just a small level above Renato, and a lot of people put money on Moicano there. That was the linchpin for me. That one hit, and then I paired it with a couple minus 200 plays, Pantoja being the strongest there. That was an easy win on Pantoja, but other two I think were easy wins as well, actually. And 4K to 29. So now the account balance is around 40, 50 grand. You factor in these, this will get it up to about 60 here. So Pantoja and Ilya, dude, this is the type of parlay right here that I would slam if I could go back. That minus 137 for that's just too easy. See what lost this one. Felipe Lima, I faded Peyton Talbot. that was just a fun wager. That wasn't even VIP, but I should not have done $3 on that, but I wanted to have a bet on every fight on the card. So sometimes when you're on a hot run like this, it's okay to mix in degenerate parlays. All of these will look like degenerate parlays to the traders that work for DraftKings. And a big part of all of this is not just winning, but winning in a way where you look like an idiot while you're winning. So you'll see a lot of parlays here. Instead of just betting on them as straights, I'll bet on them as parlays because it's just as effective as betting as straights. It just looks different to the DraftKings trading team. It makes me look like more of a square because professionals don't do parlays. Smart professionals do, but most professionals don't, and they get their accounts banned and limited quick. So a big part of this is, how can I do this while still staying in good standing with DraftKings? My account's warmed up. I'm doing parlays. I'm not doing any straight bets, not doing anything that should scare them, you know? And this is a big part of it too right here. These didn't make me or lose me any money. I think I had net like minus $200 loss. But dude, doing power slap parlays is such a good way to show DraftKings that you're an idiot. And what would have been better is if I bet bigger amounts on these. It is what it is. But I think that helps my case. Like when they're evaluating my account and they're like, is this guy really beating us off skill or is he getting lucky? These power slap bets just make me look like I'm a recreational bettor, like I do it for fun. So it's okay to bet recreational on your account if you're up big, just to keep the account warm. Because ultimately, guys, if this account were to get shut down, it's hard for me to get 94 grand into an account without raising red flags. Like, I can't just open a fresh account for my cousin and then wire 100 grand in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna be like, a new account with 100 grand, let's limit this. Like, let's be safe. Whereas with this one, this account's warmed up. I've gotten it to 94K naturally, organically through winning bets. So I'm able to, you know, run it up, or I'm able to be aggressive still and don't have to worry as much about getting limited. So here are some plays on the UFC 318 card. Ended up taking a few underdogs that really paid off for me. Pitbull and Paulo Costa being the two underdogs. Holloway over significant strikes. He actually went over his alt line. And here's what's interesting that I wanted to point out is Kevin Holland almost finished Daniel Rodriguez. He had him like 99% finished. Insane. Holland ends up losing a decision in a close fight that he should have finished. That ended up costing me 36 grand. So you can see this one here was 6 grand to pay 11. This one was 6 grand to pay 11 as well. And then this one hit right here for me, 3,000 to win 18,000. $10,000 win here, $11,000 win here. And there should have been, I think there's one more where Holland cost me. This one right here, yes. Well, actually he didn't cost me because Poirier had 109 significant strikes. So that would have been, if Holland won, this one would have been very just sickening to look at. Anyways, let's keep scrolling through here. This was a long shot, 2,500 to win 20 grand that missed. Pretty close fight. Vettori lost a decision. He didn't get robbed or anything, but it was a close fight. So those are the types of shots I'm taking there. 2,000 to win 20. And when they hit, they put you so far in the green that it's pretty sweet. So you'll see some hedges here that I took. This was the big one. 3 grand to win 38,000. You know, most people that give out picks on the internet, most people that have YouTube channels or Instagrams or TikToks or Twitters, they're not actually putting down this kind of money. They're not actually betting professionally. They're more of making content about betting professionally. That's their profession as a content creator, more so than an actual pro sports bettor. You won't see people scrolling through their account, screen recording it like you see in this video. So there's a nice little parlay. I did hedge, put a little bit on Ige Live when that fight was looking 50-50 with Pitbull. So then I went into the Paulo Costa fight with 5,500 risked effectively on Costa and Max Holloway. So I think, well, you know what I ended up doing too is I hedged on D-Rod here to bring back 3,500 just because I saw how close it was and I had so much money riding on Holland. I guess I didn't ever hedge against Costa, which is good. And then Poirier, I put 10K on Poirier because I was going into that final fight saying, hey, I'm gonna get 38 grand if Holloway wins. Let me throw 10K on Poirier as a dog. So I lowered my upside, but I locked up a pretty nice profit on the night. Holloway ended up winning. And then we move on to this past weekend, RDR versus Whitaker. So RDR wins as an underdog. I put 3,500 to win 8,500 on that. You see my account balance is at 94,000 right now. Going into last weekend, I think it was like 86 or something like that. So I had 86 grand and I only put 3,500 on RDR. So you can see I'm still being cautious. This isn't something that I'm like all in on. This past weekend, I had some rough losses, but ultimately the plus money wins helped me survive. 3 grand to win 10 right here, put me in the green quite a bit, even though I got roughed up on 2,500, 3,000, 2,000. That's 7,500 that I lost there. But then I won it all back with this one play, and then the RDR was profit for me. These were some bonus bets that they gave me. So I ended up using all those. I lost them, but took shots at winning 10 to 20 grand on those. And then now if I go over to open bets, before I left Louisiana when I was at UFC 318, so what I did was I tried to put down 4,000 to win 320,000, I guess it would be, right? Yep, at 80 to 1. They blocked it, but they let me get down 1,000, so I got 1,000 to win 81,000 there. And then they lowered it to 70 to 1. And I put down 1,500 to win 106,000. So now I have 2,500 tied up in DeRitter to pay 187,000. What's cool is the value of those right now, if we go to UFC, that's crazy. They don't even have UFC on here. They're trying to hide it from me, man. They don't want me to find that UFC tab. That's where I make all my money. If you go to the futures now at the middleweight division, let's see what they are. It is going to be 10 to 1 right here on DeRitter. So to get $187,000 payout, you would have to do $18,700 risked. So I basically have $18,000 in equity on that RDR prop, and depending on how it plays out, I'll make a separate video on how I'm gonna handle that later. But depending on how it plays out, I could be able to hedge and lock up anywhere from $40,000 to $100,000 profit, which is gonna be really sweet if I'm able to do that. I basically just need him to get a title shot towards the second half of 2026, and then I'm chilling. I'm in a good place. So yeah, I'm pumped about that. Well, yeah, let's go to the picket though. Let's show off the proof. So if anybody shows you screen recording of a picket, you can't really fake that. So $50,000 made in July, 47 grand on the 19th, 3,600 on the 26th. I think that these days where I lost $5 and $146 was through Prize Picks probably. Not really sure. On Prize Picks, I'm limited to $5 a play, so I don't really use them much, but I don't know how I lost 146 on the 18th. Oh, you know what? That was Power Slap. So I ended up netting minus $146 loss on Power Slap on the 18th. And then 4th of July was a hot dog eating pick on Prize Picks for $5 that lost. Then you go back to June. June, we made the $9,000 on the 22nd. It was that LSU win. So I won 12.5K, but then I lost 3.5 on that middle that I attempted and failed. And then I ended up profiting 38K on the 28th, which was UFC 317, where Ilia Topuria smoked Charles Oliveira. So those are the results right there. So up 97,000 and change. So we'll just call it 100 grand, 97,000. It's pretty freaking exciting stuff. And I wanted to show that to you so you guys can kind of see what type of style I'm betting with. But I ultimately realized, like, for me, I'm deep into college football and NFL, and I make a lot of money off of college football and NFL during the season. And I'm basically placing bets 7 days a week in football season. And then in the football off season, I know that I'm capable of beating NBA and MLB, but I was like, you know what? What if I just watch the college baseball playoff? What if I focus on UFC? Those are things that I'm more interested in. So knowing what you're interested in and what's easy for you to get obsessed with and research all day, every day. Like if you hate football, it's going to be hard for you to research football 24/7. If you hate the NBA, like I'm not a huge fan of the modern day NBA. The NBA was such a good product when I grew up. It's hard for me to get excited about modern day NBA because it was just so much better back in the 90s and 2000s. And it's hard for me to accept this new product. Same with baseball as well. Baseball, I feel like, sucks nowadays. So it's easy for me to get into college football. I feel like college football and UFC are like better than they've ever been, and it's so fun. So doesn't mean you're right or wrong based on what sport you like to watch, but whatever you like to watch, I would just become an expert in that. And you can even niche down even more. Like in the NBA, you could become an expert within one division of the league, or MLB. You could say, hey, I'm gonna pick the, like, I don't know, the NL West, and I'm gonna be like an NL West like guru and know everything about every team in this division and just handicap that. Good strategy there. For me, I chose UFC, and I like UFC because you have to reverse engineer everything you do. So you have to put yourself in the sportsbook shoes. So in this case, I'm beating DraftKings, right? So I have to think about DraftKings. If you look up their valuation, it's like over $10 billion. It's crazy. It's like an infinite amount of money. They're big time, right? They have so many quants, so many professional math guys that have like literally doctorates in math and actuary science and risk management and statistics. They have all these math guys playing defense for them, right? And I have to beat those guys. I have to disguise myself to where they don't realize that I know something that they don't know. And with UFC, it's like no math. It's almost all analyzing the fight styles and projecting how different styles will match up, how different game plans, how different personalities, the human motivation level. It's a lot more human psychology than math. There's almost no math in UFC, honestly. In baseball, it's like the opposite. It's like 100% math, okay? So that's what I like about UFC, and that's where I feel like I have a massive advantage. I think the same could be said about college football. The reason I say that about college football is a math sport too, but college football changes year to year so much that by the time these math guys can build their models, the season's over. It's like a 10-game season. Is it a 10-game or is it a 12-game season? And then one postseason game usually. So it's like a 12-game season. Every player is going to the NFL, new freshmen coming in, now you have the transfer portal. The teams are so different. A lot of it is looking at the moving pieces and how they will fit into a new system, new team. So kind of like college football for the same reason. Anyways, on this run, this $100,000 run, this $97,000 run over the last 50 days, I made the decision, hey, I've got 10 grand in my account. I'm never gonna do anything stupid with it. I'm gonna be super cautious and just wait for the bets that I am like 99% certain will hit. So an example of this would be like John Jones over Cyril Gahn, John Jones over almost anyone, John Jones over Stipe when Stipe's like 44 years old. Those are examples where I'm like, dude, there's no way that John Jones can lose this fight. Another example would be Merab. Merab in the 135-pound division in the UFC, I think he's the lock. Tom Aspinall at heavyweight over Cyril Gahn's another lock. Now these bets are like minus 400, minus 350, things like that. But if you parlay a couple of them together, you can say, hey man, I'm gonna throw down 30 grand to profit 20, 30 grand pays 50. You can be aggressive, and you can do it in a way where you could chip away at a bankroll and kind of try to grind a little bit each and every day. Or you could just sit back, let it come to you. And if you look at my picket calendar, you see that I only bet like 2 days in the month of June. I only bet 2 days in the month of July. So I made 100 grand and I only gambled 4 days to get there, okay? And going forward into the future, I have a lot more action in football season, but it's kind of gonna be the same thing for my big bets. It's like, hey, if I don't like anything, I'm willing to go a full month without gambling. If you're DraftKings and you're hosting all these gamblers, would you rather the guy that does 5 plays every day, no matter what, he has to gamble every day because he's addicted? Or would you be more afraid of the guy where you're like, oh my God, this guy made 40 grand off of us the last 2 months and he only bets like once or twice a month. This motherfucker just sits. If he doesn't like anything, he'll sit 3 weeks without placing a bet. Like, that person's much more dangerous, right? So I'm probably gonna get limited soon, and it is what it is, but I'm trying to, go on this run as long as I can, and while I'm on this run, teach you guys things that I've learned. I know for me, I always dreamt of betting on sports for a living. I always dreamt of going on runs like this, and to actually be living it, to be doing it. My wife and I were buying a house that's just multi-million-dollar house next month, and it's dope. Like, the compound that I'll have during next football season is going to be so awesome, so much space. My environment plays a big role in how much content I make, how well I do in life, and that's something I've noticed bouncing around different houses these last few years. So to buy our dream house, and I still have big goals. I'm not settling down. It's not like our forever home. It's just another stepping stone for me. But to buy a multi-million-dollar house is awesome. And once I'm in there, I know I'm just gonna keep putting my foot on the gas, keep crushing it. And I share all this to inspire you guys. I'm not bragging. I'm sure if you have a brain, you can tell I'm not making this video to like shove it in people's face how well I'm doing. I'm sharing it with you guys, specifically here on YouTube in a long form format, because I know the people that watch this full video are serious about sports betting and they will take it serious. And if you're watching videos like this, you're definitely doing the right thing. A big thing is consuming content and knowing like which guys are professional pick sellers, which there's nothing wrong with that. I don't hate on it. I make a ton of money selling picks. But which guys are professional pick sellers, which guys are actually professional sports bettors. And dude, the lines get so murky. Like, there's so many people nowadays that really do look like professional bettors, but they're not at all. They're idiots. So you have to be careful. But that's all I got for this video, guys. I wanted to just share it with you guys, share a little update, and we'll see how fast I can turn this 100K into 200K. Turn 10K into 100. Now my next goal is turning the 100 into a million, but there's checkpoints along the way. So we're gonna try to get the 100K to 200K as fast as possible. So that's all we got for y'all. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, check out my videos. I handicap NFL, college football, and UFC. And I am literally the best in the world at college football and UFC. You'll never find anyone with better picks than mine. So see you guys later. Have a good day. Good luck with all your bets, guys.